Hello, stamping friends. It's Angie here with Too Cool Stamping, and we are here with another live class. I am so excited to bring you this class. It's beautiful. I just absolutely love it, and I hope you will too. It is beautiful imagery with the Stippled Roses Bundle, as well as the coordinating Softly Stippled Designer Series paper. Now you'll find that paper in the Sale-a-Bration flyer. So it's just a matching item that's only available for just a couple of weeks. It ends on February 29th. You can get that paper for free, and I'll show it to you in just a minute. But you can get that paper pack for free with a $50 order. So we'll be doing a class today, 5 cards. I have 2 cool versions again. It's been a while since I've had that, but we will do those. And so your class kit will have 5 all the supplies to make the 5 cards that I show how to do today. And if you place a $45 order with me using the special host code, which I will also show you in a minute, then you can get that class card kit for free. So if you just order $50, then you're going to get that paper for free if you want it, or something else. If you see something else in the Sale-a-Bration catalog that you want, you can look there. There's also some additional items that have been added recently. It's from the More to Celebrate collection. You can see those items. If you just go to toocoolstamping.com, you can see both the Sale-a-Bration flyer if you don't have one in your hand, and also the link to the most recently released Sale-a-Bration items that you can choose from. On February 1st that they updated and they added some different items just in case you got everything you wanted from the flyer. So before I move on to the class, I did want to remind you, if you are thinking about maybe joining my team, or maybe if you're not, but maybe if you like to purchase Stampin' Up! Products on a consistent basis, it might be something to think about, is to join my team, because when you do that right now during Sale-a-Bration through the end of February only, you're going to get more stuff than you normally would. And it's usually, starter kit's usually a pretty good deal. But right now you can choose from 2 cool options, and I'll go over those really quick with you. So normally you would spend $99 on a starter kit, and you'll be able to select up to $125 in products of your choice. Plus you'll get free shipping on top of that. That's the everyday deal that you can get, and then it allows you to become a team member, and then you get that discount, 20% off of every order while you remain on my team. Now during Sale-a-Bration, it's even better. So you get 2 cool choices, as I mentioned. The first one is a glass mat studio that you can select. It's a $60 value. You get a beautiful glass mat work surface. I think it's 11 by 17, 11 by 14. Now I can't remember. All the details are on toocoolstamping.com. But you get that glass mat. You get a little silicone mixing tray. It holds your 1-inch ink spots. It's a great place for mixing refill inks, for doing putting, if you have to put glue in something, just to have a place to dab glue on. It's just a really nice, easy to clean silicone mat that sticks right to the glass so it doesn't move around. And then my favorite thing, I'm telling you what, it's all well used already, but it is just like the Simply Chamois, but it's the Simply Chamois cloth. So it's super thin. It's maybe a 1/16 of an inch, and it's just a beautiful, lovely cloth. And I hope they sell these after Sale-a-Bration is over with, because my favorite thing is, I always like the Simply Chamois, and if you've watched my videos, you know that I like to clean my stamps with those. But when they dry, you have to go over to the sink, and it takes a little while to get a hardened, dry one, nice and damp and reusable. This cloth that comes with that glass mat studio, 30 seconds underwater, it washes out all of the residue ink, and it's nice and wet and ready to go for cleaning. It cleans your surface, your glass mat studio surface, cleans your stamps, cleans your hands. It's great. So, and then you just wash it off again, and it dries quickly. So, it's just really super handy. So that comes with the glass mat studio. That's my favorite product. So that's one of the options. And then the second option, if you don't want that, or maybe you already have something similar at home, you can always choose the second option for the starter kit, and that is $30 in additional products to select. So that's always great to have extra products. So anyway, if you want more information, Remember, you don't have to sell. You don't have to do what I do. You don't have to do classes. You don't have to sell products to anybody. You can just enjoy that discount as a hobbyist. That's what I did for many years. I would say 95% of my team members are hobbyists. They're just enjoying the discount. It's like signing up for Costco. So if you're interested, let me know and I can get you more information. Just message me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around. We'll get started with our Stippled Roses class. So bear with me 1 second. All right. So here, let me get everything lit up a little bit better and in the screen a little better. All right, so I mentioned the 5-card class kit, and you can earn that for free with a $45 order. You just need to use the host code that you see at the top of your screen there, SXZG3MG3. They always make it crazy letters in there, so it's hard to get tongue-tied. But that's the host code that you'll need to put. It's usually, let's see, I think it's on the checkout page at the top of that screen where you would add that. So you want to make sure you put that in there. That way I know that you want this class. And let me show you just a little bit about the products that we're going to be using today. So the first thing is the Stippled Roses stamp set. Beautiful, beautiful imagery. I love this large floral, some pretty leaves, kind of has a pen and ink, stippled pen and ink type of a look. Little rose down here and some really nice sentiments. Happy Mother's Day, birthday, best birthday wishes, congratulations, sending thanks. So really, really nice for weddings, for Mother's Day, for birthdays, that type of thing. Then it comes with the dies, the Stippled Roses dies. You'll get the outline for all of the different images here, as well as some beautiful leaves, some branches, some intricate cuts, and even some flowers that you can put. I think the flowers go with this particular branch. You can put the different flowers on top of there. Just really, really pretty and detailed and intricate die cuts to go with it. Very, very pretty. Now you'll find that in the mini catalog, and then the paper is from the Sale-a-Bration flyer, and that again is only good through the end of the month, and you can earn that with a $50 order for free. So let me show you each of these real quickly. It's called Softly Stippled, and it has that same stippled pen and ink type of look. Some beautiful, beautiful coloring. And you can use these with lots of different stamp sets from the mini catalog, but it really goes beautifully with that Stippled Roses stamp set. As you can see here, that same floral is repeated here, kind of a toile look. And some painterly type of acrylic painting backgrounds on the back. I love this one. It's like a pool party, kind of a linen canvasy look. Some more roses and a calypso coral. And there's another canvas type of twill almost. And then another beautifully colored, softly stippled pattern. And this one's a gray granite. So those are the beautiful papers. And when I first looked at this paper pack, I thought, oh, it's kind of just blah and muted, but it works so beautifully. And you're going to see with these cards how awesome they are for backgrounds. All right, the other cool thing we're going to see in this class is I'm going to show you several different ways for coloring your images. The first one, though, is super simple. We're just going to do some basic stamping. I'm going to start out with Pool Party, and it's 7.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 3.5. And then we'll add some Designer Series paper onto that. This is a 3 by 5.25 inch piece of the Softly Stippled. And this is one of my favorite patterns from there because it looks so beautiful and elegant just by itself. But you could easily add some color to it with some blending brushes or blends markers, whatever you would like. So then inside, I'm going to have a piece that is a 4 by 5.25, And I'm just going to decorate that edge with a 1-inch strip of the softly stippled. So we'll just add that right to the edge, 1 inch by 4 1/4. I'm sorry, 5 1/4. I don't know why I keep saying 4 1/4. 1 inch by 5 1/4. I'm adding that with seal adhesive. And we'll just put that right in the middle for our little writing area. So we'll have a little overlap there, kind of an offset cut, shortened card front. All right, I'm going to go ahead and tie some pool party ribbon along the side. I love this ribbon. It's a grosgrain ribbon, and it's such a pretty color, so soft and satiny looking. Just tying that in a double knot. And then we'll trim the edges off. If you know me, you know that I just like kind of a faux bow. It's easy, and it also lays a little bit flatter. I need to get my other scissors because these are not working very well. Do you have fabric scissors that you used? I know there's probably lots of people out there that are into quilting. Well, these aren't going to be much better. Some people are into quilting or other fabric, sewing or whatever, and they have fabric scissors, and I have some too, but I don't get them anywhere near my paper crafting because then they'll get used and get all dull. So there we go. Now all we're going to do is just have a little focal point. I've used the Thoughtful Expressions dies, which if you haven't seen them, they are in the mini catalog and they are a must-have. Even if you don't like the coordinating stamp set that goes with it, the dies are beautiful. So many beautiful shapes, and there's nesting patterns. So this is Pool Party, and then I have a smaller one in Basic White. So I've pre-cut those. I'm going to use some Pebbled Path ink and the Sending Thanks stamp. And you can either, you just notice that you can either have the flat edge, or you can tilt it just a little bit and have kind of a pointy edge. So I had the flat on the edge. I felt like I did it both ways, and I felt like the Sending Thanks worked a little better in that configuration, but you do what you like to do. Oh, before I do that, I need to get the branch. Sorry, I can see my camera is moving around when I do that. So I'm just gonna kind of curve these leaves right around my sentiment like that. And that looks so dark. This is Pebbled Path. It looks really dark, but it will dry a little bit lighter. All right. And we're really almost done with this one. We're doing it very simple. We're going to add some dimensionals to the back of this and pop it up on our mat. And there we go. And then we're just gonna put this right here on our card. So I want to add some adhesive, but I don't want to have it on this side because I don't want to shut the card. So I just flip it over 180, kind of where I want it to be positioned, and then add my seal adhesive over the top there, flip it back, and there we go. So there is our card. Let's put some bling on that. If you also, if you look in the Sale-a-Bration flyer, you'll see these opaque faceted gems. So, so pretty. You'll have Calypso Coral, Pecan Pie, and also the Pool Party. So I'm just gonna use a large and a small. I've kind of been doing a lot of these 2 different sizes at the bottom looks lately, and that's kind of my thing right now. But this is our first card. So I don't know if my light is I've changed my light over here, so it's a little bit weird with a little bit of shadow, and I apologize. I'm trying to find the best angle to do that. Hopefully that's a little bit better. So there's our first card, and let me show you my Too Cool version. It's not a lot different, but I did want to try it in the Lost Lagoon for the background. I used that same paper, and I used the Lost Lagoon for a matte. I moved my Sending Thanks up a little further, and then I had a couple of stamps of those leaves just coming in at a different point, and then I used that Stippled Rose, which has a die cut, and I colored it in with Pool Party and Lost Lagoon for some shading, some Old Olive, and some Mossy Meadow for some shading. So really pretty. And this ribbon, I'm telling you what, this is the Peacock, Pretty Peacock and Gold Metallic ribbon. It is absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see the sparkles in that, but it is just a gorgeous, thin, really easy to tie ribbon. So I highly recommend that. That's so much fun. And then these gold gems are from the Blooming Pearls pack. So those are my two cool versions, and you will get all of the supplies to make this card in your class kit. All right. So we're on to the next one. This one is a Lost Lagoon card base. It's just the traditional size, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'm going to add some designer series paper from that Softly Stippled collection. So we have this piece, which is 4 by, I believe it's 2.5. Let me see. Nope, it's 3. 4 by 3. And we'll put that along the top. And then we have another piece coordinating, and this is 4 by 2 1/4. We'll put that along the bottom. And then we have just a little piece of wild wheat. It's a 1/2 inch piece by 4, just a little strip, kind of gives you the look of a ribbon without the bulk of a ribbon. And you're just going to put that right over where those two papers meet up. Okay, next we have this piece. Again, I'm using the Thoughtful Expressions dies. So this is a different shape. We have, in that pack, you have this beautiful round scallop shape, and then you also have this beautiful sign type of a label. Beautiful, I just love it. Did I say beautiful enough? It's really fantastic, I love it. Okay, so I'm gonna just pop this up. This is gonna be the base of our focal point. And I use a lot of dimensionals. I just like to. There's no harm in it. You can always use the edges too. Don't forget, you can just snip the edges and get some extra dimensionals out of your pack. So I'll add that about right here. And then I have another basic white Thoughtful Expressions shape that I've already cut out, a little bit smaller this time. That's going to be another background, but before I put that, I wanted to add some leaves. So this is the leaf, kind of the branches that I die cut first in wild wheat, and then I'm just going to cut those into some different parts here. So let's just snip it right here, and we'll put a little bit of seal behind here. And I just want to frame that with some leaves. So again, I want that flat on the top. I think that looks best for what I'm doing. Again, do it however you like. So I'm going to put a little bit here and a little bit here, just to kind of frame it a little bit. Let me add some. I don't have enough. There we go. You could use some, whoops, there we go. You could use some liquid glue there if you wanted to, and that might be helpful to tack those leaves down. So there is my kind of my foundation, and then I'm just going to stamp that same, let's see, find what I need here. I have Memento black ink and the little rose that I just used on the first card on this Too Cool version. And I'm going to show you how I did that. This is going to be the same look as that first card, but I'll show you how I did that with blends. Super, super easy. I used Pool Party for the first layer, and this is just dark Pool Party, and I'm going to color over the whole flower. You don't have to be real fancy with blends. They really do a lot of the work for you. So just color the whole flower. Then I'm going to add, and this is the wrong one. I don't know why I brought this one. This is Light Pretty Peacock. It's really supposed to be Light Lost Lagoon. It's almost the same look though, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But you do want to do Lost Lagoon. I pulled the wrong one. Okay, this one is our Light Old Olive. Whoops. That was the fine tip. Remember, you can see the fine tip has the skinny line, and then the fatter line is that brush tip. And I love the brush tip. It adds your color really fast. It lays down the color quickly. If you're trying to do a lot of detail, then the fine tip end works a lot better. And then the final one is our Light, I believe it's Light. Nope, I put the wrong one again. It's supposed to be Light Mossy Meadow, but this is dark Old Olive. You know what? Either one, doesn't matter. A light green and a dark green. You can really gauge it and do it however you like. All right, so I already have one that's been die cut already, but look how I didn't do any shading. I just added over the shade that was already there, and it really just kind of blends together. You know, if you want to have more of a seamless look, you could go over with a lighter color and kind of blend that in so you don't have any marker strokes. It just really has a nice gradient, but you don't need to do it. So that's what I did for this one. Put a couple of dimensionals on the back. And we're going to finish up with a little sentiment across the bottom. This is 2 5/8 by 3/4, and I'll use the Memento Black again, and this time congratulations. So this is great for a wedding. It's great for any celebration, retirement. It could be for graduation. So pretty. And I'm just going to add that directly to my Lost Lagoon label. We'll just put that right under here, kind of center it. And I'm going to finish up with some in color dots. These are from this year's In Colors. And I'm going to use that Wild Wheat again to match. So we'll use all 3 sizes here. Add a little shine and sparkle, and there you have it. So that is our second card, and I'll show you the Too Cool version. So that is this one. I used the different paper. My background's Pebbled Path. I did Pebbled Path for the banner, and then the leaves and the strip are in gray granite, and then the flower is in Petal Pink and Calypso Coral, and then just some Old Olive. I don't even think I did any shading for that. So that is, and then the Wild Wheat again to bring that color into it a little more. So that is our Too Cool version. You'll get all your parts and pieces for this card in your kit. All right, so that's our first technique with Blends Markers. And then we're going to try a little bit of coloring. So we're starting with or I should say blending. This is a Petal Pink card base, traditional 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a little piece here, a 1.5 by 5.5 inch piece of the Softly Stippled. That will go right along the edge here. Then I have the Layered Florals embossing folder. I use that on here. It is absolutely beautiful. It's in the mini catalog as well. It's 4 3/4 by 3.5. If you can see, can you see that print? They're kind of like, I don't know my flowers. who am I kidding? They're beautiful flowers and they coordinate well. So they're not roses, but they still coordinate because of the floralness of them. So I'm going to add that to a layer of Calypso Coral. And this is just an 1/8 of an inch bigger. So just a smidgen. So let me give you the actual size. It's going to be 3 5/8 and 4 7/8. We'll add that directly to our card front. We like it that way. All right, then let's do some stamping. So I have just a sheet here of basic white. I'm going to stamp that large floral image and use my Memento black. Now notice that a lot of times you're going to stamp this way into your ink pad. I'm actually holding that because it's a larger stamp, and I do kind of a twist, kind of a smooshing type of a thing, and that's how I make sure that I get it nicely covered. So we'll just put that on some basic white, and then I'm going to show you how to do some coloring with blending brushes. Now, I'll be honest, I was a little scared of blending brushes, and it's taken me a while to even try them, which is ridiculous because they're awesome. They really are awesome. So I'm going to start with Calypso Coral. And the thing I like about this particular one is, you know, a lot of times when you're doing blending, you have to worry about when you first go onto the paper, you might get a big splotchy thing when you're wanting something to be nicely, you know, really smooth and not have strokes in it. But this is not the project that's going to matter. You actually want the middle of your roses to be a little bit darker. So it's okay if you put that big blob of ink right in the middle and just keep working around. So this is the large blending brush, and then there's also small. So if you want a little bit more detailed, you could use the smaller one if you have less area to cover. But you'll notice I just dabbed it right in the center because we want a little bit more in the center. You can keep applying layers on top of layers if you want, but I'm just going in little circles, starting in the center and working out. And I think that's about all. I mean, that was so quick and easy. Now there are a couple other flowers here, and I want them to have just a little bit. And this is where you might want a small blending brush just to add a little something, but not go too crazy. Remember, we're going to die cut all of this, so it's not going to matter if you go way outside the lines. You're not going to see a lot of that. Now I'm going to add some Old Olive to the leaves, and I'll use the smaller blending brush for that so we can kind of get into the little nooks and crannies of the leaves. They're a little bit smaller. And you can even just kind of use it's not really a corner, but the edge of your brush to kind of get in to little spaces. And don't have to worry about it. It's not an exact science. It's just adding a little bit of color here and there. It's so fun and easy. So that's just a little bit of color added. And then I've already done one ahead of time and did the die cutting. So you can see I did pretty good, pretty similar. So that is my die cut piece. We're going to add that to the front of this card. But before we do that, I want to add a few, actually I'm going to add some leaves later. I'm going to kind of tuck them in behind. So let's just pop these up with some dimensionals. How many dimensionals will she use? Now this is when I go into my mom mode and I'm with Ava going, okay, let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and I'm just gonna do a little bit of an angle here. And then we're gonna add some leaves. I have 2 die cut leaves. Let's move our ink out of the way. So these leaves have little insides that you might need to pop out, but they should come out pretty easily. They're so pretty and intricate. And they have little dots on them, the stippled look. I don't know if you can see that, but they actually have little, like a little dot pattern on there. So I have 2 of those that you'll get in the kit, and we're going to use one kind of full size, and then the other one we're gonna cut like we did with the other card, just to make them go farther. So you do a little bit less die cutting. So the first one, I know what I need to do. I need to stamp my sentiment first. So I have a Stylish Shapes circle here. So let's stamp that, then we'll have something to connect our leaves to. This is going to be a Mother's Day card, so we'll just do a Happy Mother's Day in Memento Black. And much like we did for the other one, we're just going to add some adhesive to the back. And then this one is going to have some leaves coming out this way. And then we're going to cut this, I'm actually going to cut this 3 ways. So this will be one, and then I'm going to cut this one in half. All right, so you got Happy Mother's Day. We'll put some leaves up here. Very similar to what we did on the other one. And then I'm going to put that right here. So I might need to have another dimensional, maybe right here. I'm doing this left-handed, so we'll see how it goes. Not too bad. All right. Now, if you want to, you can go back in with some liquid glue. I'm not going to do it here, but I did do it with my original card. Just lift this up, add a little bit of liquid glue here on, at least on this leaf and these 2 leaves, just to make sure that they're nicely tacked down. And then these, I am going to add a little bit of glue. And we're just going to, whoa, not there. Let's get that piece off. We're just going to tuck that in there. Get my glue off of there. I hate that when I drop it glue side down where it's not supposed to go. All right, just a couple of leaves tucked in under there. And you only had to do 2 die cuts for that, so that's not too bad. We're going to add just a few opaque faceted, trying to find my little piercing tool, the opaque faceted gems. So let's put a couple of those around. These are Calypso Coral. Let's put it over here. There we go. So that is that card. Let me show you the Too Cool version. Now this one, I went crazy and I added a lot of ink. So I just kept layering and layering until it's almost too much. So it's okay if you judge me a little bit on that, but I just wanted to show you that you can maybe put a little bit too much. It's probably better if you do a lighter look, a lighter hand. Just, you know, layer it till you feel like it looks good to you. Maybe you love this. It's not my favorite. But I use the Lost Lagoon for that. Actually, I think I used Pool Party. It just layered and layered and layered on top of it. Some Old Olive, same leaves that we did. Pool Party for the background. A different pattern from the Stippled Roses, or softly stippled paper. And then some different Pool Party faceted gems. So you'll get all the parts and pieces for this one. Now remember, you're going to need those blending brushes and the Stampin Blends markers for the previous. Okay. For the 4th card, this is another technique that we're going to try. This time we're going to do a little bit of sponge daubering. So we're going to start with Pebbled Path this time, a traditional card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to start, I'm going to clean my leaves here because I don't know what I used on it. I guess I did use Pebbled Path, but I'm going to clean it up a little bit. And let me find my Pebbled Path. We're going to start with the leaves again, and we're going to create just a little background. We're going to have a little focal point going down the side here, so I'm going to add some leaves coming out from that focal point. So this is going to be covered up. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I just want some of those leaves to show. Next, I better just leave that out. You're going to get a nice big sheet of basic white. This is going to be your scrap paper so that you can use it however you need to. But we're going to, this is what I wanted to make sure I cleaned up because this had Memento black on it, and we're going to stamp it in the Pebbled Path. So we'll stamp it in that. So again, sorry for the camera, it's going everywhere I can see. So you're going to have plenty of room on your paper. We're going to clean that up again, and we're going to stamp it again. This time we're going to ink it in Wild Wheat. Whoops, I see I still have a little ink there. I love this cloth. This cloth is so handy. It's just so easy to use. Okay, so first we're going to do Wild Wheat ink all over the whole thing. Then we're going to use a sponge dauber and your Calypso Coral. So I like to just put a strip of the cardstock around my sponge daubers, and then I have one for each color. At the very least, it's nice to have one for each color family, like all the oranges or all the greens or whatever. Okay, so I'm just taking a little bit of Calypso Coral, and I'm going to go right in the center of those two largest roses. Just a little bit right in the center. And then you can huff on it, put a little bit of your breath on it to make sure that it's wet enough, and then stamp it. So now you have a two-color, two-tone look there. And you're going to die cut this piece out, which I have already done. So there's my Pebbled Path die cut. And then you're going to use your super sharp paper snips to do a little bit of fussy cutting and cut out those two roses. Okay? And then we're going to layer these colorful ones over the top of the dark ones. So I'll show you what that looks like on our card. First of all, let's get a background. I have a piece here of, it's 4 by 3 1/4. Sorry, it's 4 1/4 by 3 1/4. And then your designer series paper here is 4 by 3. And then that panel is going to go right over your leaves on the front of your card. Like so. And then we're going to add your Pebbled Path. Oops, I guess I do kind of like it this way better. Like so. And then before we put these over the top, I'm going to add another little die cut. This is a die from Pebbled Path. And again, my hands have just a little bit of glue on them, so they're going to stick to them. But this, I love this little intricate piece. But again, we're just going to cut it in half so that we can use part on one side and part on the other side. So just snip it in half. That way you don't have to have as many die cuts happening. And let me make sure, here we go. So a little bit of liquid glue, just some little tiny dabs on each leaf. And we're going to want these to be coming out from under those two roses here. So kind of let this be your guide about where you want to place them. So if you just kind of hold that there for about 30 seconds. And then we're going to do this one too. I'm going to cut this in half again so we can place them a little better. Put a little bit of glue. And these I want coming out from under this way. So here's one. I could have used a little more glue. Could have done a little better job there, but you get the idea. Then we're going to use some dimensionals on the back again. Whoops. I just have so much glue on my fingers that everything is sticking. Glue and live video doesn't go together, in my world anyway. Okay, we'll take these off. And you can notice that I cut these roses out so that they are attached. You don't necessarily have to do that. I'll show you my original card. So you can see how those leaves, the die cuts are coming out from under, and that color just kind of pops out over the top of that. We're going to finish up with a little sentiment. I have just a little 3/8 inch strip here. Did I already? Oh, I thought I already stamped on it. Let's see, what did I do with it? Here we go. We're going to do the birthday sentiment and pebbled path. We'll see how crooked I can get it. Oh, pretty crooked, but that's okay. Then I'm just going to angle the ends. A little bit. And then pop that up down here, and we're going to add some, let me just show you my card. It looks a little bit better than what this is. So this is the card that I already have finished. And I just popped that birthday wishes up, and then I added some iridescent foil gems. There's one up here and two right here. And I'll show you, that's what these are. These are in the mini catalog, and these match so many things. They have kind of a gold sparkle to them, but there's also little hints of pink and orange and even a little tiny bit of blue in there too. So they go together really well with these types of colors. So that is the card from our class. Let me show you my Too Cool version. And that is this one. I did in Pretty Peacock. I used the different background and stamped the background in Pretty Peacock. The leaves and then this matte layer are both in Lost Lagoon. And I stamped the flowers in Lost Lagoon and then added a little bit of wild wheat to the centers before cutting those out and popping them up. The birthday wishes is in Pretty Peacock, and then the little gems here are from the Blooming Pearls. They're the greenish, I think they're supposed to be Pretty Peacock pearls, so those look really nice with that. So those are two cool versions, and you'll get all of the pieces to make this card. All right, one more card. This last one, not any big technique. It's very simple, but it's also, in my opinion, kind of stunning. It starts with Coastal Cabana this time, so a little bit brighter than the paper that we're working with. And we're going to add, I have a couple layers here. Let me give you some measurements. This is a basic white in 3 5/8 by 4 7/8, and that's going to layer on top of basic black. And that is 3 3/4 by 5. So we'll layer that. This just barely peeks out. Oh, I didn't get it centered. Let me see if I can save it. Save it. It just barely peeks out of there. Okay, there we go. Now I have a couple pieces of the softly stippled paper. So this one is a 2.5 by 4 3/4. And we'll put that on this side. Again, just barely peeking out. And then this side we'll add a coordinating strip that's just 1 inch by 4 3/4. And kind of butt that up next to the paper. Before we put it onto our card base, I'm going to wrap around some black and white gingham ribbon. Love this ribbon. Like, this is the ribbon that I hope that they never ever retire. I don't know if you feel that way, but I really love it. It just creates such a really cool pop of contrasting color. Looks great with pool party and a good berry burst. Okay, here I have my scissors that don't like to cut. All right, we're going to sneak this little faux bow down to the bottom, and now we're ready to add that to our card front. Ooh, I'm loving it so far. All right, next I have another pop of color. This is a Deckled Circles die cut with basic black, and this will be our base, kind of our foundation for our focal point. So we're going to slide that under the ribbon, and I'm kind of making it equal between the top and the sides, just kind of center it right in there. I've already stamped in Memento black this large floral, and we'll pop that up with dimensionals right over the top. I only use 7 this time. It pains me. I want to like put them all the way around. Okay, pop that over the top. Like so. And we're going to get our sending thanks out again with some Memento ink. Stamp that on some Coastal Cabana. I'm going to use my double oval punch. So you'll already have the punch in your class kit. And then I'm just going to put that maybe right here. We don't need to pop it up, just lay it right over our flowers. And I'm going to finish up with some glossy matte dots. I'm sorry, glossy something dots that I can't remember what they're called. Put one here, and then a little tiny one maybe down here for a little bit of shine. And that's it. That one's, whoops, my fingers are still sticky. That's it. It's super fast, super simple, lovely pop of color. I hope you like that one. I really like that one. And I did it also in kind of a different look, a softer look. This one is in Petal Pink, some Calypso Coral, a really couple of pretty Calypso Coral patterns, gray granite for the background, stamped in gray granite, Petal Pink with gray granite stamping, and then some ribbon from that Ribbon Duo pack, some Petal Pink striped ribbon there. And then these are the iridescent pastel gems in Calypso Coral. So also kind of a whole different look, softer look, but really fun too. So you'll get all of the parts and pieces and embellishments for this card. So let's get all of our class cards back out so you can see what is in the kit. Again, you're going to get all the parts and pieces. You're going to add the stamps, the dies if you want them, a lot easier with the dies, and the ink and adhesive. And then you'll also need some blender brushes, or even some sponges would work okay, or even a sponge dauber. You could just get sponge daubers and that would take care of 2 of the techniques for the cards. All right. So here are I'm trying to find, oh, here it is. The first one is right here. So these are our 5 cards. Again, if you would like the kit, you can just place an order at twocoolstamping.com. Click on the Shop Now link underneath the class details, and that will take you to my online store. You can order anything you want, but I encourage you to order the Stippled Roses Bundle if you want to get this kit. Also, you need to have a $45 order to qualify for my free class kit, but you'll want to have a $50 order if you want to qualify for that softly stippled designer series paper that you can get for free until the end of the month with Sale-a-Bration. If you already have that paper, or maybe you don't want any, you're going to get all the pieces that you need for the kit, so you don't have to have that paper. You'll get that in your kit. But there are several other selections you can choose from for the $50 as well. If you happen to place a $150 order or more, do not use that host code. If you place a $150 order, that's when you can earn Stampin' Reward dollars that you can spend on additional merchandise. So you get 10% back that you can use for additional purchases on the same order. So if you have a $150 order, you get $15 in additional dollars to spend at the end of your order. It doesn't take it off the cost. You just can add some additional product. So, and that just goes up 10% until you get to $300 order, then it goes to 12%. So, and it keeps going up from there. So don't use the host code. That way you can earn that reward, those rewards for yourself. But I will know that you will get a kit. I'll automatically send that to you. I don't think I mentioned when the kits are available. So they're good. The offer is going to be good until the 26th of February, 2024. And then I will mail out all of the class kits along with emailing out a tutorial on March 1st. So I'm looking forward to making these kits for you. I hope you really enjoyed the class. Thanks for spending some time with me tonight. And I look forward to our next class together very soon. Until then, this is Angie with thru.stamping.com. Bye-bye.